The widespread sense that people have changed, and not for the better, is not an illusion we sense personally. It is not the outcome of our distress or a personal falsification of the real thing. It is unfortunately a documented reality instead. Some point out the 2020 pandemic as the responsible factor, believing that COVID has somehow changed and will add broken many minds. And that is why people have changed. But such changes are not really reducible to a single cause. Of course, COVID caused many problems sociologically and in terms of personal psychology. But it is in fact a multi-layered, a multifaceted, hyper-complex psychological phenomenon, what we are talking about, unfolding at a speed that exceeds our personal and even collective capability and the capacity to process and understand it accurately. And that is precisely what I will categorize as a focal issue. Complexity. Increasing complexity. Complexity demands in-depth metacognitive thinking skills, calibration of one's cognitive speed, and a decent state of peace of mind throughout the processing of salient information. Skills that most of us were never, ever educated to develop. And of course we don't possess today. In fact, many simply lack these cognitive tools. Others don't even bother to attempt the inquiry at all. Another element is that for decades we somehow domesticated our own minds and brains through comfort, ergo adapting our brain's neuroplasticity to it. Not only material comfort, but also intellectual comfort. The kind of proclivity that dulls inquiry, curiosity, and intellectual creativity. Proclivities such as the refusal to question, to confront ambiguity, to stretch our cognitive muscles, to ask anyone prone to endorse linguistic and semantic clichés, "Wait a second, please, may I interrupt you there? What do you actually mean by this and by that?" When COVID hit, followed closely by new wars right within the Western world, new social political fragmentation, new social and ideological absurdities, energy crisis, the explosion of echo chambers, particularly online, populisms, polarizations, post-truth, techno-feudal, dystopic and oligarchic pseudo-political forces, and the unmistakable signals of another likely to happen financial crisis to come. Not to mention, of course, the question marks brought by AI. The culturalized and normalized illusion we grew up in shattered. During the years all of this unfolded, our relationship with comfort was disrupted severely. And because almost none of us were educated and trained to handle psychological turbulence of this magnitude with metacognitive clarity. The collective response was general and personal confusion, growing chronic emotional overload, general cognitive dysphoria, and a dramatic increase in reactive thinking. So the thing is that trauma without cognitive tools and introspective reasoning skills becomes a long-term cognitive liability. Layered onto this, there is also another peculiar paradox. While public discourse increasingly celebrates the democratizations of AI, whatever this means, and the ultimate need to reach AI alignment before the advent of AGI and then as ASI, the emerging reality is far less egalitarian and rather dystopically frightening, I will say. Algorithms, especially those governed by AI agencies, are rapidly developing an intimate understanding of our psychology, individual psychology, and therefore sociologically speaking as well, including our unconscious biases, or our conscious biases we don't like to touch, our conditioned impulses, the shortcuts we take in perception. And they are doing it with more and more and more and more precision, more than what we apply to ourselves. So in a nutshell, they come to know more. They get to know us intimately more than how we know ourselves. Now we're standing at a moment where technology may soon map our inward mental architecture more effectively than we ever will, unless we deliberately cultivate the capability to observe, question, and reorient our own thinking to somehow upgrade our cognitive agency, thinking skills, and intelligence. And of course, this is only one strand in a web of factors tied to human conditioning, habits of thought, inherent beliefs, social pressures, identity loops, and emotional automatisms. The deeper problem isn't really that people have changed, but that the underlying mechanisms shaping human minds have gone largely unexamined, uninquired, and rather taken for granted as normality and personality traits for too long. Without an upgrade of our cognitive agency, we will become more and more vulnerable to both internal unexplored conditioning and external forces that exploit us. As more and more and more sources of information around us in our information environment will become more and more and more agentic in the near future to come. What is really needed as an urgency right now is not more franticness, nor dull optimism, neither an increase of fear and neuroticism, but rather a renewed, deeper literacy in our thought processes, our own thought processes, and the collective ones work, how they are influenced, and how this conditioning deceives us intimately and the human species at large.